Hello Alison, and welcome to Kangaroo Court of Australia.
Hi Shane, first time I've been to Kangaroo Court.
Good to hear. Now you're the WikiLeaks Party candidate for the Senate in New South Wales.
That's right, there's a first time for everything, isn't there?
Yes. Now there's two candidates in New South Wales.
That's right.
Now, can you tell us, most people out there wouldn't differentiate between WikiLeaks and the WikiLeaks political party. Can you tell us what the difference is?
Certainly. First of all, I should say that the two candidates in New South Wales are myself. I'm number 2 on the ticket, and number 1 on the ticket is Kelly Tranter, who's a smart young lawyer who lives in the Hunter Valley and is often around in Sydney and all over the place. And the difference between the WikiLeaks party and the WikiLeaks organisation is that, as you know, the WikiLeaks organisation is a publishing operation, publishing on the internet, and the WikiLeaks party is a party that was formed in response to Julian Assange's idea about 2.5 years ago that he would stand for the Senate. And so it made sense for him to have a party around him to support that venture, but also to have other senators to see whether there was an upswell of opinion in Australia that wanted the kinds of things that the WikiLeaks party talks about to be operational in the Senate.
Yep. Now a lot of people out there will probably think that the party is run by him, dictated by him. What's the actual structure there? Is it reliant on him totally, or?
It is reliant on him for inspiration a lot, but the actual formal structure, of course, is not his at all. It has a proper committee, an executive and so on, with all the right people sitting in all the right official positions, as I think they probably have to under Australian law. His father is the secretary of the committee, that's John Shipton. The convener of the party is Greg Barnes, who's a barrister from Melbourne and Hobart. And then there are, other office bearers and supporters and so on, a whole lot of volleys and well-wishers. In addition to that, there is a WikiLeaks support organisation, which is a sort of a grassroots body that raises funds both for supporting Julian Assange himself and supporting the party. So although it's all very small and most of it is pretty new, it's out there. And the extent, to answer your question about Julian's influence, everybody is curious about that. We're all of us in constant touch all the time, and we just use as you would imagine, we just use the internet. It's very appropriate for an organisation like ours, and we communicate like he's next door.
Yep.
And I must say, I think for him personally it must be really encouraging to have this kind of thing taking shape before his eyes, and even if it's not 100% successful, it will have been a great experience, and I think brought the ideas that he has stood for over many years into the public consciousness more.
So the concern some people might have is that they vote, say, for Julian Assange in the Senate in Victoria, but if he can't fulfil his position, it's a wasted vote. But that's not the case then.
No, it's not, because he wouldn't have to take his seat in the Senate until July next year anyway, by which time one would hope that this situation involving him in London would have been resolved one way or another. But if it hasn't, then the second senator in Victoria, that would be Leslie Canold, she would take his place until such time as he could resume it. So we hope that turns out to be the case. It's not a wasted vote by any means.
And it's certainly not a wasted vote. You have candidates in Western Australia.
We do.
Also New South Wales.
That's
so
right.
If you vote for WikiLeaks in New South Wales or Western Australia, and they do get the required votes, there's going to be a candidate in Parliament.
Certainly.
Now, what is your background? People are obviously interested in the backgrounds of the various candidates at WikiLeaks, like are anywhere.
Well, as you can see, I'm not a young person, and so in a way I kind of reflect the broad range that the WikiLeaks party has among its membership. I was really amazed when I got to know them. I thought they might be a sort of a mob of young bomb throwers, but by no means. I mean, there are some bright young people there, that's for sure. But there are citizens of all kinds, all backgrounds, and all ethnicities as well. My own background, I imagine this, I used to be a federal public servant. I worked for the Department of Foreign Affairs all my working life. And then after I left that at the beginning of the Howard government in 1996, I went back to ANU and did a PhD, and I've been sort of in and out of academia ever since then. And just sort of being, I hesitate to use the term, sort of a public intellectual. You know, I say what I like, I'm not constrained by anybody, and I've been enjoying myself.
What are the WikiLeaks policies?
Well, we have actual published platforms on a small range of things. We haven't attempted to cover the whole gamut of government policy because we're not seeking to be a government. What we're seeking to do is to hold government to account by our role in the Senate. But to support that and to show people that we're serious about what we're doing, we have policies on our website which people can find the detail of very clearly on asylum seekers, on climate change, on our main platform, which is transparency, accountability and justice, and also on Indigenous affairs.
How do your policies contrast to like the Labor Party, the Liberal Party and the Greens?
I suppose because they are potentially parties of government and we are not trying to spell out and quantify in meticulous detail what we're going to do. Sorry, I should have added before that we have a policy on media liberalisation too. And that, of course, is one of our focuses because of the nature of our organisation, that we want much more, we are seeking much more openness in public life, much less secrecy. In recent years, particularly, I think, politicians have held back from telling their voters what in explicit terms they are going to do, and then there are some nasty surprises after election day. Now, with WikiLeaks, there are no nasty surprises, none at all, because we believe in openness and honesty, and what we plan to do is to hold the governing parties, whoever those are, to our standards, to account, and hold them responsible, returning that responsibility to the people.
Would my site and its supporters benefit from having a WikiLeaks Senator? My site's about judicial corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It's there to collate all the judicial corruption. You might read about it from time to time, but unless it's collated in one spot, people don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how would my website and its supporters benefit from that?
Well, one of the strengths of a website like yours is, as you say, it brings the information together, and so you and puts it out in the open. So you are exactly on the same page as the WikiLeaks Party is. That's just the kind of thing that we would support and approve. Freedom of people's access to information of importance to them. Now, on the other hand, what we have seen increasingly, for many decades in fact, but increasingly since we've had the internet, is that governments regard themselves as having the right to access citizens' information or information that is paid for by citizens and then withholding it from them. So the recent scandals that you've seen in the United States about getting people's private data from telcos and then holding it in a massive storage facility in Utah or somewhere, Ohio, is replicated in Australia. Australia is not immune from this. Governments in democratic societies traditionally are not supposed to invigilate their citizens. Now, that's where the WikiLeaks Party and your website have common cause. This is not justice. This is injustice, and it's pretending to be just when it's not.
So why should people vote for WikiLeaks, the WikiLeaks Party?
Well, first of all, it's not a wasted vote by any means. People can vote for as many parties as they wish as long as they vote below the line, which is a big job, but they can do it. Or they can vote WikiLeaks above the line and get 2 candidates in New South Wales, 3 in Victoria, 2 in Western Australia and number them according to their preference. But the reason it's not wasted is that we are committed not to forgetting about what we have promised the people, but to holding government to account in between elections. That's what we're going to be absolutely focused on. And that seems to me to be returning the power of the Senate to where it should be. Instead of in recent times we've seen the Senate more or less become something like a charade. You know, it hasn't been carrying out its proper function. It's been looking like a ceremonial operation more than anything else. And we want it to be a very active House of Review, and that's in everybody's interests. People can vote however they wish in the lower house because that's where they vote for the government of the day, and that's fine. The government of the day can be whoever the people decide, but we intend to hold that government to account.
Now, if people want to join the party or donate, how do they go about that? They go to your website?
Yeah, of course, and there are plenty of friendly access places to do that. They can also get in touch with the WikiLeaks support organisation, all of which have websites, but the website for the WikiLeaks Party is simply www.wikileaksparty, or one word, .org.au.
Now, I should put on the record too that I'll probably vote for WikiLeaks.
Oh, thank you, I'm very glad.
Mainly because of my website and freedom of the press.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your time, Alison.
That's been a great pleasure. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.